Hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome back to One Hub Racing. We're here tonight and oh the excitement, it's just building here in the room. We're here tonight in the Sakhir International Circuit in Bahrain for the One Hub Racing P2 tier season finale, and the championship has not been decided yet folks. It'll be decided within the next hour and a half-ish here in the Sakhir International Circuit. My name is Evan Dalton and as I have been for all but one round this season, I am joined alongside Matthew. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. It's great to be here, but more importantly, how are you, sir?
I am very excited. I've been excited all week for this one pretty much. It is going to be a cracker of a Grand Prix, hopefully, and hopefully we do get some exciting action for you watching at home. Of course, we're here in Bahrain, where the first Formula 1 race to be held in the Middle East was here, of course. It should be a very interesting one, of course. I can't imagine weather will have much of an impact here, but certainly the drivers will. Of course, your current championship standings, it is XLJ Cole leading on 98 points, ahead of ERT Larkin in second on 87. Also in the Red Bull, it is then JM 69 in third with 86 points, ERT Nick with 68, and Schnitzel with 55 in his Alfa Romeo. But there is three people who can still win the driver's title. It is J. Cole, Larkin, and JM. The thing is, JM and Larkin do need a little bit of help from those who provide the luck this evening. We can run you through what it will take for either of them to win the drivers' standings, and pretty much if J. Cole finishes in the top 5, it's all sorted. J. Cole will be the champion. If J. Cole finishes 6th with the fastest lap, JM is eliminated. Larkin must win the race to win the championship. Otherwise, J. Cole wins. And then it goes down a little bit. We can keep you updated as the race goes on. But pretty much a top 5 for J. Cole. A top 6 for J. Cole with no Larkin win. It is sorted, folks. And with the close point system, it really does leave fairly reasonable gaps like this one to be really difficult to catch. But we're getting into qualifying here, and it should be a fantastic Grand Prix. We're just looking at the drivers on their outlaps here, folks, and it is a fairly difficult circuit in Bahrain. Of course, safety cars can play a part, but what was the best strategy in the earlier races, Matthew?
It seemed to be either starting on the softs to go to the hards, or starting on the hards to get to the softs at the end. It seemed to have quite an upside down kind of feel earlier, but of course that also depended on a late safety car down in the P4 tier for some of us to get back in the game, so to speak. But I would imagine with the new qualifying in this season that you could probably get away with starting on softs, whereas in other previous seasons here you wouldn't have been able to do that because they would have been too damaged from qualifying.
Yeah, of course, if it's your first evening tuning into One Hub Racing, what an evening to pick, by the way, fair play to you on that one. But it is a two-stop strategy. We do have some engine penalties on the grid, which we can run through in a moment's time. I believe there is 3 or 4, which is very peculiar for this late in the season, but with a new engine wear model, that is what's happening. But we're looking at Colin Mason entering in towards turn number 1 here, a 1 of 15 corners to be exact, and oh, that's a slide, and into the gravel, and that will be the end of his first lap. For Colin Mason, of course, you can get beached on that gravel on this game, and that is a big problem. Some of the drivers will hopefully not be suffering with this evening. That will be a horrible way to end your season if you beached it in qualifying. We haven't had any beaching problems throughout the season, so I sincerely hope we don't start now. Colin has still gone purple in sector number 1, which is a bit peculiar, but he still technically has on timing screens, which is even catching me out, as you can see. But fair play to Colin for going off the circuit and still going purple. J. Cole has invalidated this next lap. Could the pressure be getting to him? We'll have to wait and see, as Larkin is now purple in that sector number 1. Heading through sector number 2, of course, lap record still held from Pedro De La Rosa in 2005. That was the year I was born, so that scares me. Larkin heading through turn 10, heading down towards the back straight. DRS can be in play here, but it's a really difficult corner to get overtaking in. Braking just after the 100 metre board and flicking up towards the hill, but it's on wide, who sets the early pace with a 1:28.1.
Yeah, you just mentioned the year, but now I feel really old, so thanks for that. It's fantastic. But yeah, yeah, you've got some very early pace going, and then of course he's got some now. What can Larkin do is he's just about to round the final corner for the first time in this session.
Round 8
Seems a
with...
little bit tentative just to make sure he gets a lap in though.
Yeah, seems like it's going to be one of the slower ones. It's going to be second. It is going to be 7 tenths off on Wyatt, who has been very in and out throughout the season. Of course, he best qualifying result was pole, or it was not pole, apologies. He led the race in Hungary and had a spin after 3 laps, and that was the end of the day pretty much for him, which was unfortunate. J. Cole did go purple in sector 1, however the lap was invalid as Cam Rule's heading through the middle sector. That's not a purple sector on our timing screens, and it seems like he may have backed off on that lap. JM, or the championship rival, will keep an eye on him. It's not purple in sector 1, but JM has been icy cool throughout the season in the press conferences and stuff. We imagine there'll be no pressure going towards the German this evening. However, we do hope we still see him mount a bit of a challenge in possibly the later stages of the race, where he is typically good, apart from if it's around Budapest, where of course we've seen his championship possibly go, where he made that mistake and crashed out heading through turn 3 and 4 around the Hungara ring through the middle sector. Not a bad job there by JM. It's not quite purple as he heads down towards the penultimate corner here. It'll be interesting to see whether Williams can put his car. If he can get it up in the front row here, he could really have a good shout. Heading towards the line, JM is going to come across here. Can he go? He does put it on the front row. 5 tenths of a second off Owen White. Owen White could be the big issue here, because it would be the two guys chasing the championship, 1 and 2, if it wasn't for Owen White. Lukey in his Aston Martin goes to 4th. He feels he's in a bit of a mediocre season, I believe. However, some good results have come in, and hopefully another one to follow. J. Luke has found the runoff here, heading through the fast chicane section, heading down towards turn number 8 through 6 and 7. That is not where you want to be, ideally, on the qualifying lap, but we do see some adventurous lines around here. J. Cole is on a bit of a clean run now. There's no delta times going in from just yet, but it is a 106.6 heading through the middle sector. It's not a bad job at all. He invalidated his last lap, of course, so we will have to wait and see what the current championship leader can do. Entering in towards the final couple of corners, 14, and then this little kink is technically 15, but not really the final corner, unless your name is Jack Aitken. Here comes J. Cole towards the line. It's going to beat his 2 title rivals and go second, but that Owen Wyatt lap is really looking untouchable as we get in towards the middle of the session. We see Nick starting qualifying lap now. Let's see what the Mercedes can do.
Yes, let's see, and it is certainly a very good time there for Owen White, especially thinking about if it had been there the whole season. Just think how far up the pecking order he could be as well. But Nick is getting all the toll that he can from many of his rivals, just to see what he can do on his first final lap. And he's taken, maybe he went a little deep through that corner there, but he's into the tricky sector where we saw J. Luke, I think it was, going backwards for a spin off the runoff area, but so far no such issues for Nick there in the lead Mercedes of this session. As we saw, Colin had his incident earlier, went off the track and abandoned and went in, but he's back on track now, so we'll keep an eye on him later. But Nick is doing a good job, and let's see what his sector 2 time reads as he's about to go through turn 11, which could be tricky. On previous games it certainly would be if you touch that curb, but you can get away with it here as you go into turn 12, which is the end of sector 2, just there. 106.9. That is going to put him there or thereabouts.
Ooh, massive wobble.
Not after that slide. He's
Massive
going to continue
wobble
with the
there.
lap, though, I think, just to get a lap in.
J. Luke actually on his lap, it wasn't great as we saw, but he was setting some purple sector times. We'll see what Nick can do as he comes towards the line. June went 3rd, was very good in qualifying in the United States. He finished 5th on the road. Nick, yeah, he's just 1.2 off the pace, and realistically that mistake cost him quite a lot. Let's see what Waitsy can do. The 2 McLarens were fairly nip and tuck in Coda. We'll see as Waitsy goes to 9, just behind Cam K. His teammate Cam falls a little bit further back as that's Colin Mason gone to 5th, and Colin proving that he quite likes P5 in qualifying here in One Hub Racing. It's not the first time we've seen Colin in that sort of spot, and we do await a time from Cam Rules, who is getting a bit of a toe off Waitsy here, so the 2 McLarens working together well. Thomas Mack is one of the engine penalty runners. I believe Schnicksel and Chris may be the 2, however, don't quote me on it, as good to have Chris back for this week. He's been missing for the past couple of weeks, and he's had some unfortunate results this season, but it's good to have Chris here. We're looking at Cam Rules now, and he's heading in towards turn number 8, of course. He's not had the best results, but not the lowest point score in the championship. That'll be Thomas Mack, who's currently picking up the wooden spoon with 3 points. And honestly, Thomas has showed some good signs throughout the season, but unfortunately they were very brief as we are still awaiting a time from the Alpine here in this qualifying session.
Yes, still awaiting a time from the Alpine, but there's some of the drivers that we could be waiting on to improve on their times as we are fast approaching the second half of this session. If we're not already in it, this session absolutely flies by, and it's Colin White has improved it on his already pretty good time. He's slightly up and he's ruined it, or I've ruined it by calling him. Anyway, Colin White keeps it out of the barriers, but that's put an end to that lap.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a commentator's curse in its finest form. Cam Rhodes goes for 12th. It's no great shakes as he crosses the line there. On wide, of course, we said he made a mistake. JM is back out on the circuit to try attack the Sakhir International Circuit once again. He needs to win this race pretty much if he wants to wrap up, if he wants to take the title. Apologies, anything less is pretty much a no game. He would not gain anything from it. As it is a good first sector from JM, actually. It's not come up on our timing screens as anything realistically, but it is a very good first sector as we see him head around towards the very difficult braking zone. Flick into the left and then brake and try not to lock a brake. Of course, these guys can run ABS as we see Larkin cross the line to improve to only 4th, still not touching J. Cole, which is really unfortunate for the Red Bull. He wants to be right up there with his teammate. Of course, J. Cole said in the pre-race interview, it's not a great track for him at all, however it's a very good track for my title rival. Gotta play it safe, said J. Cole. So far, it's proving to be J. Cole's territory, as JM is slightly improving on a lap, and J. Luke actually gone purple in the second sector as well, as we still await J. Luke to set a real proper time, as he's not out on the track actually, unfortunately, so that is a bit of a delayed call from our task timing screen, as JM heading towards the start-finish straight now. We'll see where the Williams can go. Up to 3rd, that's a bit better from the German, as he beats German Larkin, knocks Larkin down a pegging to P number 5, but still no one even close to that lap from Owen White.
Yeah, it's looking likely that maybe the only person to beat his time is the man that said it himself, and I've seen evidence that he can already beat that, but as you said a few moments ago, J. Cole doesn't really enjoy this track. Well, I'd love to see how well he does at tracks he does enjoy. This is what he does at tracks he doesn't.
I'm thinking that myself. What tracks does he enjoy? Because he seems to not like all of them this season, but seems to be absolutely rapid around them all. As Lukey improves to 6th for his Aston Martin, one of the men who's just started a lap actually is J. Cole. So we'll see. Could J. Cole find 0.3 of a second and possibly topple that lap from Owen White? If J. Cole was to take a win here today in Sakhir, my oh my, would that be an easy way to wrap up the championship, as we see him heading down towards the tricky braking zone of 3. Apologies, of 4 I believe that is, not 3, because there's little kinks left, right and centre here, which are counted as corners. Down in sector 1 is J. Cole, but it is where he was best realistically on his last run.
Yep, there's kinks all over the place here, which I wouldn't recognise as corners, but I guess if
no, I wouldn't either.
They would be, but and we just got to go with the track map of what it tells us, but we understand if you call it turn 3, because that's what it is.
It is turn 3, whether you like it or not. It's like Austria, that braking zone, the right-hander, it's 2. I don't care about the kink. But J. Cole, as we see, heading up towards this right-hander, of course, not so much to the curb of death anymore, although it can still be a corner that catches you out. It's a good middle sector from J. Cole, nowhere near Owen White, but the quickest man in the middle sector is actually J. Luke, mind you. So J. Luke, we are still yet to see some representative pace from him. Of course, he was on course for a podium in the Circuit of the Americas, but a glitch caught him out, and that was the end of the day for J. Luke, as J. Cole comes across the line now. It's a narrow improvement, but it's nowhere near tackling that lap from Owen White, and every split second that goes on in this session, that lap is just even more impressive. J. Luke has made another mistake in one of his laps, or unless he's just starting one now, there's a little bit of a glitch where the outlap thing on the side of the timing screen does go out, and I believe J. Luke is going to start a lap heading down towards turn number 1, of course. And we see him bomb down. What can J. Luke do? Can he possibly tackle that unbeatable lap?
Well, he might be able to do that, but I've just noticed on the Taz as he has a little bit of a back-end slide as he comes out of turn 1 and into 2. The Taz says he's purple sector 2, but he's done a 10-second lap.
He's done a 10-second sector 2, so that's probably...
that's not quite right, but I know he was flying through there, but I don't think he's quite manage that time, but yeah.
It's on wire, his purple in Sector 2, folks. It's definitely not that lap by... It's definitely not that one from J. Luke.
That's pretty quick, but...
I mean, maybe. Who knows? But, can't imagine that is the most realistic sector time of all, as Cam Rules has backed out of the session very early here. He obviously doesn't feel he can get another lap in. J. Cole has ran out of fuel on his trip back to the pit lane. So it is a very, very slow trip back for him, and hopefully he doesn't go this slow in the race, is probably what him and his mechanics are thinking as he rounds the final corner to head back into the pits. Colin Mason is heading down to start a hot lap, I believe, as he's entering into the braking zone for 14, heading into the little kink of 15, and bolt to the line goes Colin Mason as a driver who has quite impressed me this season, but I still think there's a podium in the bag from tonight if he can hook up a hot lap here, braking in towards turn number 1 just before the 100 metre board, really laying the brakes for Colin Mason, but that's going to be experience that brings that one into a stop as heading through turn 3 up towards 4, of course, a very infamous incident on the exit of 3. Romain Grosjean crash, hopefully no reenactments of that today, through turn 4 and onto the exit towards the 5-6-7 complex into 6, and it's a great sector 1 from Colin Mason, 28.4. It's a little bit off our purple sector time. No, actually, it's pretty much matching it. So this is great for a sector from Colin Mason. Clearly quick through there in towards the heavy braking zone of 10, where you definitely don't want to lock a brake. You're heading off into the black barrier on the right-hand side. Colin Mason, he's a car in front of him, having a bit of a weave here, which hopefully gets out of the way, and that's an awful place to pull out of the way for whatever car. I believe that's Owen Wyatt, actually. That was a terrible place to pull out of the way. Should have pulled off to the left-hand side, and I think Owen Wyatt was caught napping slightly there by the man who's charging for his lap. Colin Mason, not a good middle sector. Not quite the 10 seconds that we saw from J. Luke, but still a good and competitive middle sector here for Colin Mason, heading down towards the final braking zone, braking once again just before the 100 metre board, get the car rotated in well, get the power down, and hopefully charge towards the line. This is a good lap from Colin. Where's it going to put him? It's going to put him on the front row of the grid. That's a great lap from Colin Mason, and I thought he had it in the bag. He certainly produced here.
Yes, it was a very, very strong effort there, and maybe he could have gone a little quicker on another day, but I am currently watching his teammate who's just coming down the DRS straight into turn 11 and 12, the end of sector 2. It won't be 10 seconds, but he's looking to improve from his little earlier mishap at the back end of his lap, which cost him some time. Can he get any closer to his teammate? Can he get to the front row? Indeed, he is currently nearly 4 tenths up through sector 2 than he's been before, so he's doing everything that he needs to do to try and improve his overall time, and in just a few short seconds we will see how far up the grid he can go with just less than a minute to go in the session. Things are certainly heating up here, and this could be Nick Egan's final lap of the day. Has he got enough fuel? We don't know, but that puts him only P4.
Only P4. Colin Mason once again outperforming his teammate in qualifying as Nick slows down. That is his lap done. J. Cole rounding the final corner for a final qualifying lap of the season. Owen Wyatt currently putting in a good attempt here. We'll see what he can do as he heads up towards the final sector, but really the car everyone will be looking at, it's not Doom in the runoff, it's this man, ERT Larkin. As is he on the hot lap here? I believe he is, as he's heading down towards the final braking zone of the lap. This needs to be picture perfect for Larkin out of the final corner. What can he do? Heading towards the line. 27-28 across the line. It's P2. Great lap from Larkin. What's Owen Wyatt going to do? Absolutely smashes pole here. There's no way anyone is beating that one. J. Cole narrowly improving. JM goes to third. The two title rivals are both currently outperforming J. Cole, who is narrowly up in the first sector, but this could be quite crucial for J. Cole. If he could put it up there in the mixer with those two, I think we'd be in for a great run into turn 1, but currently he has Colin Mason separating him and his title rivals. Down towards the turn 11 braking zone comes J. Cole. We'll see his sector 2 split time any second now as he heads up towards the hill. Can he challenge for pole? Can it be a magical hot lap to finish off the season? It's not quite challenging for pole. It could be challenging JM and Larkin. That is the big thing here, because he's got a bolt to the right hand side actually, but he's not really got much of a toe off the Mercedes there. That could have lost him some more time than it gained him, but here comes J. Cole rounding the final corner, trying a sneaky bit of toe. Is it going to beat his title rivals and put it on the front row of the grid? J. Cole to the line. It absolutely is, ladies and gentlemen, and that is crucial. That is a pressure cooker performing to its finest. J. Cole on the front row of the grid. Owen Wyatt will take pole unless J. Luke can produce something magical. He's invalidated on his lap. It won't be the magical lap for J. Luke. Owen Wyatt on pole, but J. Cole outperforms his two title rivals as one of his not so favourite tracks. And ladies and gentlemen, we are in for a cracking turn one. J. Cole, Larkin and JM will be free wide hopefully into it, but that is a cracking lap from Owen White, has to be said. 0.4 of a second. We're going to take a quick break now just to run you through some of our sponsors and partners.
Yes, that was a sensational lap, but our sponsors, even, if I could speak England for a second, which I have been speaking since I was a children. Anyway, our sponsors and partners here, One Hub Racing, are Next Level Racing, who sponsor the league by providing prizes, and Pure Sim Gear, who sponsor the league by providing a pair of their sim racing gloves to the driver with the most combined pole positions and fastest laps, which we'll find out very soon who's one knows. And of course, our brand new sponsor this season is Gamergoo, who sponsor the league by providing Gamergoo samples to the trophy winners. And our partners here are Vespertine. We are now partnered with Vespertine, who support our championship prizes, and ERT partnered the ERT Go and Get Stuff Award and League trophies. And the Go and Get Stuff Award is a very cool thing to win. I've won it in the past. It certainly helps drivers that aren't necessarily having the best of seasons. And our final partner is SimGrid. We are powered by SimGrid. We run our seasons through their community and platform, and everything is in one easy to find place at a very cool One Hub. And of course, we want to thank our TAS man for providing all the TAS data that we commentators use to see who's got damage and who hasn't, who needs to pit and who is quicker. So those are our wonderful sponsors and partners for one of the final times of this season.
Qualifying results then, let's try the quickest ever. It is Owen White, J. Cole, Larkin, JM, Colin Mason, Nick, June, Cam K, I have it on my left hand side folks, Lukey, Waitsy, J. Luke, Cam Rules, Okeke, then I believe it's Thomas Mack who will be picking up his fourth TAS penalty in a row, and that could be nearing disqualification rate at this point. It'll then be Schnitzel and Chris, of course, three guys who did not set a qualifying lap. But just quickly, Matthew, who wins the final race of the season?
Oh, that's a question I wasn't expecting at this proceeding. Anyway, I'm going to go with Larkin wins, but J. Cole still becomes champion. So let's go with that.
Bold. I like it. I like it, as there is 25 seconds to go here in the Sakhir International Circuit. 5.412 kilometres, 3.363 miles, 15 corners, 6 to the left and 9 to the right. And it is a 336.49 metre run from pole to turn 1, which could be crucial in tonight's championship. 2,205 metres, the longest flat-out section. That is from 15 to 1. Here we go, folks. No formation lap. 3, 4, 5 red lights, and for the final time this season, we go racing in One Hub Racing, and down towards turn number 1, named after Michael Schumacher. Will there be any Schumacher moves into it? It's a good race start from Owen White. JM's trying to big send on both the Red Bulls into turn number 1. He's got them both heading into 2 and into 3. The two Red Bulls are side by side of J. Cole and Larkin. Larkin tucks in behind his teammate to possibly get the run down towards turn number 3. It's not going to work, and we see Cam K try to move up the inside of Lukey here. It's actually worked for Cam K. He's just not got the exit though, and we'll have to bed in behind Lukey. What a race to have for JM. That was quite crucial, and Owen Wyatt still leads here in Bahrain. 0.8 of a second the gap there. Colin Mason's gone for the move on Larkin, and that could be quite a crucial overtake. Colin Mason's got to try around the outside, heading in towards turn number 10. It's going to be an audacious send from Colin Mason. It's not going to work. Larkin is no sly fox there. He will defend that one, or I should say Colin is being a bit of a sly fox there, trying to send it. It's down in towards turn number 11. There's a bit of chaos in the back. Okeke has gone round, unfortunately, in turn 10. Has picked up a 5-second time penalty for corner cutting. Okeke's race starts off quite poorly here, as we see Colin Mason still trying to... Oh, it's a huge send up the inside for Colin Mason! And I was saying he's quite good in the brakes. I think you've got to be a different level of man to stop that car and make the move stick, as Lukey is going to try one up the inside in towards 14. Colin Mason, they've made contact actually. Colin, a bit reckless here in the opening lap, but he is still going to hold it in, and now it'll be a bit of a battle between himself, Lukey, and Cam, as Cam soars past the Mercedes down towards turn 1. Cam's going to go for the both of them, heading into turn number 1. Cam K up to 5th here, and Cam, up 3 spots on lap 1, is one of 3 biggest gainers. It is himself, Lukey, and Schnitzel, the 3 biggest gainers here, but Owen White has gone at the front, and the pace the Haasman has might just decide this championship, folks, because of course JM and Larkin need to win it, and it would be an unbelievable feat if JM was to win it here, but after a pretty hectic lap number 1, anything could happen.
Yes, it certainly can, and it very often does, and especially when you have overtakes like we've just seen from Cam. I don't know where he found the speed, but that was fantastic stuff. He took 2 into turn 1 at the end of, well, the beginning of lap 2. You wouldn't have turn 1 at the end of a lap, would you? That would be silly now, but this is going to be an absolutely classic race, and I can feel it in my bones, and this is a hot start to the action, and we still have 27 laps still to go.
Soft tyres for Owen, soft tyres for JM. It's the mediums for the 2 Red Bulls. Cam, Lukey, Colin on the softs, Nick on the mediums, Joom on the hard compound tyres, as well as J Luke, and then some mediums all the way down from Camerals to Chris. So that is the tyre situation there. Of course, it's a mandatory 2-stop and 1 hub racing. You must do 2 pit stops before you can complete the race. If you don't do it, you are disqualified, as the track looks actually really slippy here, which is quite surprising considering it is Bahrain in the Middle East, but I have seen weirder things. Here comes Colin or Mason. He's going to try a move on Lukey down into turn number 1. It's going to be the inside. It's going to be the outside for Colin Mason. Who breaks the later of the 2? It's going to be Lukey who breaks the later of the 2. No switchback manoeuvre here for Colin Mason. Lukey's got that Aston Martin stopped beautifully, and the run down to 4 is not going to be any more successful for Colin Mason, because Lukey has nailed the braking and exit through the first couple of corners there. Larkin is hanging about 0.7 of a second behind his championship rival and teammate, of course, Red Bull Constructors Champions in One Up Racing P2 Tier 4 this season, but it is the driver's title that is all to fight for pretty much here. They want a driver's title for sure. Of course, Larkin is he's no stranger to winning races, but when he needs to win the most, that is this evening. He needs to win most, because if he doesn't, it's definitely in J. Cole's hands. As the race stands now, it will be J. Cole champion by quite a margin.
Yes, absolutely, but things can and always very often do change at any given moment here in One Up Racing, but every point does matter as well, because you have fastest lap points, not just for the top 10 like Formula 1 rules. We have them here, One Hub, outside the top 10 as well. So that just gives them a little more impetus to keep going at the back end of a race. If they're a couple of laps down, they can still get a point for finishing 16th or 15th or whatever you need to do outside the top 10. But of course, points all the way down to 12 as well in this league.
Oh, Joom. Joom's gone round at the final corner, and he is not the first man to pick up damage, actually. We can report floor damage for Okeke, and that's a bit of a hindrance there, unfortunately, for Okeke, but he's still running, and Okeke is not one to give up, as, Camrils has run wide. You've seen in the background there, and his teammate, Waitsy, was looking to capitalise on a move, but it was Schnitzel that's actually capitalising the both of them. Schnitzel up to 10th position now, as Camrils is going to try fight back late on the brakes. Not close enough. Schnitzel is no slouch when it comes to Grand Prix racing, and certainly he wasn't having the wool pulled over his eyes there. As Larkin still 0.5 of a second behind his teammate. And is a move imminent here, or is he not quick enough to get past us? That's a Keke gone round again, unfortunately.
Yes, we seem to be saying that an awful lot this season, unfortunately, for him. He's just having an absolute nightmare season, but he's still out there trucking away and treading around corners by corners and just seeing what he can do to keep going, which is a fantastic attitude to have. And he's inspiring many people to keep going in their races as well. But I've just noticed that both the Red Bulls are on the medium tyre, so that's going to be an interesting call as to who gets the priority on the stop.
It certainly is, as we see Larkin 3/10 of a second behind. Could the two title rivals go scrapping? Because J. Cole has no DRS as we head down into Michael Schumacher corner. Turn number 1. Larkin is going to try a crucial overtake on his teammate. How deep is J. Cole going to defend this one? Heading into turn number 1, the braking. J. Cole just sits behind and lets Larkin do the work in towards turn number 1. As it stands now, of course, J. Cole still winning the title by a substantial margin, but Larkin now has the tools beneath them to go to work, and he'll also have the better pit stop strategy. If a safety car came out and we were to see a double stack, J. Cole would lose a few positions at the stands as we see Cam Rhodes and Schnicksel. Cam Rhodes has got the move done into turn 4, but Schnicksel, great little switchback there. He is the absolute king of these moves. Schnicksel has pulled off more switchbacks this season than I've seen overtakes in general. He is unbelievable at them, and the Alfa Romeo is going to stay in 10th place here. J. Cole, though, is still all over the back of his teammate, and Cam K could really play a part in this one. Cam's running very well in 5th.
Yes, Cam is running very well in 5th, but Cam is also not doing quite so well down in 11th. That's just a little silly joke that we talked about the last couple of weeks, but
yeah, really, it does our head in. It does. Oh, look at the other Cam. He's going to get switchback again by Schnicksel. I dubbed Schnicksel the king of switchbacks as we see Cam is... Oh, he's kept it in there very well. A bit of a squeeze on the exit. Schnicksel doesn't go for one of his trademark overtakes, and Cam has actually got that one done very well there. He's had as a brave send up the inside. You don't see those every day. So that's Doom unfortunately gone round, and first pitter of the day, it is JM. Aggressive strategy. Oh, it's picture perfect. The safety car has just come out as JM is trundling down pit lane, and that is an unbelievable call from the Williams. JM gets his first stop in under the safety car. So will Colin Mason, so will Cam, Schnicksel, Thomas Mack and Waitsy. Everybody else will not. However, the safety car has not picked up Owen Wyatt, our race leader, who's leading by 4.8 seconds. So we may still see them get out, but this will be close, and I don't think JM planned that, but it's worked out pretty well for him. Yeah,
no, that's you would see someone spitted in sector 3. You wouldn't think, I'm going to go box. Then you see yellow flags, you definitely box, and then he pulls into the pit lane and the safety car's deployed. So that was pretty well, you couldn't have scripted it better, really, if you were going to call a safety car there. But yeah, of course.
Yeah, Michael Massey, eat your heart out. That is brilliant scripting from the Williams. Of course, he said in a pre-race interview before COTA that the season was going to end in a scandal. Still waiting to see what said scandal will be. Hoping I don't, personally. But, oh well. We'll have to wait and see how this pit window phases out. And if the two Red Bulls pit, we are going to see a bit of a situation here, because just look how close Lukey and Cam are behind J. Cole. He will lose possibly both those spots if it stays like this. And I think Larkin here normally would push the Delta to give his teammate a bit of a gap to get the double stack. He's going to be doing the polar opposite here, and we'll be backing him up into traffic.
Yes, it's certainly an interesting development that is happening right before our eyes, and oh dear.
Oh, that's not good.
Never ideal.
And June was actually the one who brought out this safety car, so that is a bit of a stab in the foot, I suppose you could say, as now we see Larkin extending the gap a little bit and Owen Wyatt into the pits. Both Red Bulls in. We will see a double stack from the Oracle Red Bull Racing crew, traditionally very good at pit stops, but how good are they? Will Cam get in front of J. Cole? In goes the two Red Bulls. There is Cam going onto the medium compound tyres. There's J. Cole getting both his tyre switch. Cam's out of the box. Is Lukey out of the box in front? Lukey is out of the box in front. J. Cole is down to 5th. And where is JM? Here's JM. Is he going to get them on the pit exit? He absolutely is. And JM is up to 2nd position here in the 1 Hub ERT Sakhir Grand Prix, as Colin Mason has gained a few positions. Colin Mason has jumped J. Cole. If JM, or Larkin, apologies, was to take the lead here, as it stands, he would win the title. So, as Matthew was saying, anything can happen, and it usually does. Here we go.
Yes, that is a fantastic development for JM there, but of course he's still not quite doing enough to win the title as it stands, although it is very, very close, and of course it's going to change. Of course, JM would be getting 17 points as it stands right now, and Larkin would be getting 14, but J. Cole down in 7th would only be getting 6, so that definitely changes things, but there's still a long way to go.
If it stands, just quickly, just while I still have it fresh in the memory, If J. Cole finishes 6th, JM must win the race but fastest lap to win the championship. Larkin must win the race, otherwise J. Cole wins the championship. So as it stands right now, still J. Cole's championship, I believe. If J. Cole finishes 7th, No, yes, it is still J. Cole's championship, because if J. Cole finishes 7th without fastest lap, Larkin must finish 2nd. As it stands, he's 3rd. So, we are still in for a bit of a cracker here, folks. I know I've said that a few times this season, and I may have disappointed on a various amount of occasions, but we are definitely in for a cracker here. And throughout the field, there's a lot of battles. Schnicksel battling for 5th in the championship as well, and there's many other battles throughout the field. But really, strategy game could be crucial here, because both Red Bulls on the softs, they won't go a long time. Will they be looking to go to the hards towards the end of the race?
Yes, you certainly need better tyres as you go towards the end of a race, and we are still in safety car conditions, although we're probably going to get one more lap of the safety car unless it's really broken and goes in now, which it will not do, but I have seen it happen.
Larkin's in. Larkin is into the pits.
Well, that's an interesting call. Perhaps he just wanted to get onto the hard tyres and do his mandatories behind the safety car, which is a different tactic, and yes, he is indeed going onto hard.
This is an interesting... Oh, it's a double stack.
Hello, that's a reverse double stack, which I didn't see coming. They're both on hards now, which is an interesting call.
Nick the same. Drivers. Nick into the pits as well. Yeah, as is J-Luke.
Wow. It's all...
Well then. As it stands now, the German, JM, wins the title.
Of course, but he needs to pit again.
Yeah, we say that with
hoping
an asterisk beside, because this race is far from over. That has thrown a bit of a spanner into the works, though, because Larkin was in 3rd, now 11th, behind Waitsy, Chris, Thomas, Mack, Schnicksel, Camrose, Colin, Lukey, Cam, who I suppose we could say he's quicker than, but it's one thing to catch a car, it's another thing to pass.
Oh, very much so. Very, very much so.
Well then, if you weren't excited before, you're certainly excited now watching One Hub Racing, and if you're enjoying this brilliant spectacle so far, give us a subscribe button. We were on 699 a few weeks ago. We're now on 696. Get us to 700 subscribers. We would absolutely love it if you could. And sure, why not? It's been a great race so far. Who wouldn't love to subscribe to such brilliant action in One Hub Racing? Of course, you can check out the P1 tier on Twitch later on with Liam and one of our newly crowned world champions, Jamie. Of course, the P1 tier was cancelled last week. They won't be doing Bahrain this evening. They'll be doing COTA, which was the scheduled race from last week, where you might have watched us race it last week. It was quite a crucial one. It was a difficult one, but overtakes are possible, so it'll definitely be a good one to watch for the title. We are waiting on a Keke, so I believe we'll do another lap under the safety car. This helps our hard tyre runners.
Yes, it certainly does, especially those that just came in for those hard tyres, which is so dramatically. The Red Bulls do exactly the same. But talking of one of our champions, there's just been one crowned over in the P3 tier, so that's exciting.
Colin Mason into the pits as well.
Yep, Colin's in, and we're going to crown a champion in about 30 minutes or so. So this is going to be a fantastic night for One Hub Racing in the history books. But right now we are on lap 9. Surely will be green flag at the end of this lap, I would imagine.
Yeah, I can't see why we wouldn't be at the end of this lap. Colin's going to drop to the back. He's going to be behind Akeke, but Akeke, of course, as we said, he's nursing some floor damage. He actually doesn't have a right front wing end play either. As of now, he has it visually, but my TAS system is saying different, although TAS seems to be a little bit dodgy tonight, so I wouldn't really go by that all too much. But now the tyre rainbow is a little bit duller, and it is mediums for our top 4. It is then hards all the way down to J-Luke, and then it's hards from Juma Keke and Colin or Mason. So, interesting developments here in Sakhir. We've been under the safety car for a fair few laps now, so we are looking to get going by the end of this one. And hopefully it doesn't stay like this till the end of the race. That'd be a bit boring. But I'm sure JM wish it would, because he'd win the title. But that's not how things work in One Hub Racing, as Akeke's actually let Colin through. That's a nice act of sportsmanship, I have to say. Akeke obviously feels that, look, I'm just going to hinder him, so he's let him through under the safety car, and fair play to Akeke, or else he had half spin, and I'm just covering for a very embarrassing moment. But we'll find out after the race.
either works for me. It's always good to see sportsmanship, especially when you're at the back at someone quicker than you's behind you in these conditions. It's always good to maybe, I don't know, feign a spin or whatever he did there to get him through. But I'm just keeping a very close eye as the safety car is in this lap. Those are the words we've been waiting to see for a little bit too long now, and let's hope the drivers Owen and JM have their tyres into optimal conditions to get the restart very shortly here on lap 9 in One Hub Racing.
Here we go then, folks. This could be make or break, as June has actually gone off into the gravel in the background. This could be make or break. Of course, Owen Wyatt is just battling for his pride here. There's no championship at stake for him. It is different for the man behind him in the Williams. It is different for the man in P10. It is different for the man in P12. Rounding the final corners of 14-15, we go racing in Sakhir. Owen Wyatt's got a brilliant restart. JM got a tuck in behind in the slipstream. Further back, great restart for Lukey. Tucked in behind the Ferrari of Cam K in towards turn number 1. Is it going to be any sense? It doesn't look like it's going to be. How about the two Red Bulls back here? Look at J. Cole trying to work his way through. Nick here breaking in towards turn number 1. There was a Mercedes in front of him as Thomas Mack actually is all out of shape here. This could be big as Waits, he's going to try around the outside of Chris. Look at Larkin, 3 wide down towards turn 4. Larkin has split the two, McLaren and the Aston Martin. Larkin on the inside, he's up to P8 here in the championship finale. That could be a crucial overtake as Chris has lost the spot to Nick. J. Cole's boxed in and he's got past Chris as well, but still behind Nick, and J. Cole was running on thin ice there because he was in the middle of quite a few cars. There's still a bit of a gap between himself and Larkin. Yellow flag behind is for Akeke, so it's unfortunate there, but as we said earlier on, that's not the first time we've said that this season. As late on the brakes for Thomas Mack, almost got into the back of Schnicksel. This could allow Larkin to close up, heading down towards turn number 11. Quite a crucial overtaking spot on this circuit, of course. We haven't really seen any moves there today, apart from a bit of a send from Schnicksel. We still may see them though, as Lukey is still pressuring Cam into a move, but Owen Wyatt seems to be the man with the pace here in this race, and that could be quite costly for some of the guys hunting for a championship. Thomas Mack has lost out to Larkin. Is he going to lose out to Waitsy as well? Oh, Nick actually is going to go around out the outside of both of them here. Could this be a bit of an audacious send by Nick into the final corner? No, Nick does not have the straight line speed for that. Nick is known for very straight line speed, heavy setups, but I think it would be a rocket ship he'd need if he wanted to get that one done, as Waitsy pulls out of the way for J. Cole. J. Cole tucks into the slipstream with the Mercedes in front, and Nick could try a lasso of the late breakers in towards turn number 1 here, or else he could find himself being attacked from behind. Of course, attack or be attacked is a famous quote in all form of sports, and then there's that bit of a Senna quote, which is if you no longer go for a gap, but that might just be the most overused quote for some bold dive bombs. Safety car restart's gone fairly cleanly from most, apart from June and Chris, as they're in the pits here, as we see Waitsy all out of shape. This is allowing Colin Mason to try and make a move, but overall here, fairly clean, as Colin Mason is going to try a send on Waitsy. Has he got that one done? That is a brilliant send from Colin. He's got it done. Great send from Colin Mason. Colin up back into the points paying positions.
Yes, that's a great move for Colin Mason into the point paying positions. But speaking of points, I'm just doing some quick maths. It's getting close to the top, but JM might look if it was to finish like this, JM would be very much impressed with how the table looks at the end of the race, but that's still a long way to go. He's got to stay cool, but he's doing everything that he needs to do to try and become the Season 21 One Hub Racing Champion in the P2 tier. And there's still a long way to go, as we just said, but this feels exciting, and this feels like it's going to be a grandstand finish even now on to lap 12 with the DRS re-enabled again. Finally, after 2 laps behind the safety car, we are back properly racing with DRS, and let's see what happens in about the second half of this race.
This is where it gets interesting. This is where it gets interesting, as Nick doesn't go for the send. I was kind of building him up there a little bit, but he didn't go for it. He's going to try a bit of a switchback manoeuvre on Thomas Mack in towards turn 4. Can the Mercedes go? Oh, he's gone clean round the outside. No challenge there. J. Cole's going to follow suit, and J. Cole is just using Nick as a bit of a bar. What's the thing they used to use in the castles to burn down the gates? I can't think of it, but he's using him as one of them, pretty much, as he has got past Thomas Mack.
Yes, he certainly has. But it's...
Oh, Jay Luke's gone past Thomas Mack as well, so Thomas's season is not getting any better here in the season finale, as Joom has got past Sakeke, and the little battle at the back here is actually starting to develop, which is good to see those guys still running after poor safety car restarts. But there's now only one car, there's 1.8 seconds mind you, but there's only one car between J. Cole and his title rival Larkin, as that is a yellow flag for, I believe it is for Akeke. Unfortunately, I feel for his dignity, I may stop mentioning it.
Yeah, I think... if I'm okay, I'm not watching any of the streams back.
No, I'm definitely not watching the streams back. I do really respect Akeke as a driver, but yeah, it's not been his season, man. When it's not your day, it's not your day. It's not been his season, unfortunately for Akeke. The man whose season it could well be, this man Larkin, into the DRS of Schnicksel. This one's going to be a tricky one because Schnicksel has the DRS in front. But Schnicksel's gaining and gaining on Cam Rules. A man who has got himself quite high up in this race, actually. It could be due to some of the guys doing the double stop under the safety car, but still, that is quite impressive, as here comes Larkin. He's right into the slipstream of the Alfa Romeo. What a launch Larkin's got there as he heads down in towards turn number 4. Can he go for both of them possibly? Braking late as there's a move behind here. J. Cole trying to go past Nick. Larkin's got the job done on Schnicksel, as look at this Schnicksel fighting back. It's not going to work for Schnicksel, and I think he may have thought of the bigger picture there and backed out, because of course Schnicksel is fighting for 5th in the championship as well, and after taking an engine penalty he's still on course to take it here.
Yeah, that's been a...
Let's look at this. J. Luke is actually attacking J. Cole here. So J. Cole is being really held up by Nick Egan in front, and J. Luke is on the back of J. Cole. A battle that is bound to be confusing for my little brain, but it could be a crucial one, and a very large one, for championship implications. We'll have to wait and see, as Lukey is still stuck behind Cam up the front, and I gotta say, Cam is making that Ferrari about 5 times wider than it is currently.
Yes, he's doing a very, very good job there, holding on to the position that he currently has. But if you look at the yellow flag again, never mind. Yeah, anyway, the pit stop showed that Larkin is our net leader, and that is good news for him. And of course, J. Cole would be on the podium as well.
Is Lukey going to try one around the outside of Cam? He's going to brake later than the Ferrari, but it doesn't work here. Can he get the switch back on Cam? Oh, he absolutely can, and he's almost bump drafting, as what's happening here? Larkin is trying to go past Cam Rules as well. Larkin's gone for the up and under, round the outside. What about Lukey and Cam in towards the braking zone? One Cam has lost the spot, the other might have just lost the spot as well, as Lukey gets the job done, Larkin gets the job done, and that is Larkin up another spot here to try and take J. Cole or JM's crown. Who really knows at this point, because J. Cole, ladies and gentlemen, has lost the position to J. Luke.
Yeah, that could be huge in a few moments' time. He could start to get to him, but he's got plenty of time to try and correct that loss of position. But of course, anything can happen, and Larkin in P5 suddenly seems to be a little bit more in control than he was a few moments ago, with one of his title rivals ahead of him. Still,
oh, mistake from Lukey. Big error from Lukey there, heading through turn 11, and Cam might just look to take this one back. Cam sits behind and waits for the DRS. That's a clever call from Cam. As we see here, JM is back within a very, very close proximity of our race leader Rowan Wyatt. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to go for a move just yet, but JM really wants this one. Despite being Mr. Cool, Calm and Collected, he wants to win the championship here in P2 tier, and he is making his intentions well known as we're over the halfway point in the race. Here comes the Scuderia Ferrari in the back of the Aston Martin into turn number 1. Who breaks the later of the two? Cam breaks the later of the two, and Lukey is going to be forced to the outside here, as, oh, we're free wide here in the main straight. J. Luke and Nick, look how much J. Luke has gained on the medium compound tyres, forced the long way around the outside by Nick. J. Cole's got to be careful here as well. Schnicksel holds it down the inside. J. Luke is going to try fight back on the Alfa Romeo. The Alfa Tauri up the inside, free wide into turn number 4. J. Cole's got the Alfa Tauri. Can he get the Alfa Romeo as well? No, he cannot. He's got back on J. Luke. Up to P9 is J. Cole. Can't quite get Schnicksel, and Nick is soaring off into the sunset here. Lukey holds position on Cam. He got the run back into turn number 4 while we were looking at this bit of a scrap between the Alfa Romeo, the Alfa Tauri, the Red Bull and the Mercedes. As look at Colin Mason slowly coming into picture here as well. Keep an eye on Colin. He was quite good at qualifying.
Yes, he was. He seems to like going P5 in qualifying. He does that quite often, as you mentioned in the qualifying session. But right now, Cam and Lukey having a titanic fight for the final step on today's podium. They've changed positions at least 3 times on this lap, while you having the fantastic battle a little bit further down with the Red Bull. So that was there was overtakes going on everywhere. It's impossible to keep up, and this is perfect.
Yeah, Cam's going to go for it again here. Jake Gold's going to go for it again on Schnicksel, because Schnicksel's not going to have the DRS, but Cam's going to be the one making the move earlier, so we'll stick with the Ferraris. Here comes Cam, heading down towards turn number 1, right into the DRS, right into the slipstream. Cam is going to try and get the job done. No, his teammate has actually crashed there, heading through the middle sector. Jake Gold has got past Schnicksel, Jay Luke has got past Schnicksel, and that is the Red Bull and its junior team through, as Colin Mason looks to stick his right front up the inside. It's not worked, and Cam has not got past Lukey on this occasion, so the Ferrari is going to have to wait another lap for another run, and those guys will be considering a pit stop very soon, because they will most likely have to go to the hard competitive tyres, although if they have another set of softs it could work, as Thomas Mack all out of shape there in the background actually, but he's caught it well and he's still with the pack.
Nice save there in the background, as you say. But yeah, if they've got another set of softs, they would certainly contemplate coming in the next couple of laps to put them on, because they would probably get to the end at this point with all the rubber that they put down already across this race and the qualifying, which, you know, in real life that would happen, but in the game it seems to reset a little bit of track condition.
Ooh, Chris has gone in an unpopular spot for crashes today, the exit of 3, and Chris has lost it there, and that's unfortunate, because Chris has not had a great race, as we see. Look at Lukey and Cam playing the tow game here. This is a battle I'm enjoying. These two are going hammer and tonk because they've nothing to lose, so they may as well, as Owen Wyatt just chucks in the fastest lap of the race, because why not, as we see Lukey break the tow down towards turn number 1. I don't think Cam will be close enough unless it's late on the brakes. Here comes Cam, right into the slipstream he goes. Can he go for the brake? No, he wasn't going to say can he go for the brake, I was going to say can he go for the switch, but he did brake later. Lukey defended really well. It was Cam doing all the defending in the earlier stages of the race. It's the Aston Martin doing the defending now, as Colin Mason has got past Schnicksel. Is Cam going to send one into turn number 4? No, Cam thinks the better of it, and Cam, a really mature driver, of course, won in Miami, but that was taken away due to a penalty. But Cam is looking for a bit of redemption here in Sakhir, as J. Luke still on the back of J. Cole, so really the medium tyres have not fallen off too badly yet.
No, not yet, but there's certainly some wear being used, I can see.
Hold on a second, I just remember I have a telemetry system beside me. J. Luke's tyres are on 36%. The worst one is the right rear, I believe, which is on 40. Oh, sorry, rear left, which is on 40. As we do see Chris come into the pits to make another pit stop here, and Cam still on the back of Lukey. Those guys' tyres again, about 40%ish, but that's not too bad considering some of the tyre wear we would experience over the course of a season. Some of the tyre wear we would have experienced over the course of a few years here in Bahrain. Of course, a track with 6 layouts. It has the endurance layout and the oval layout too that have been used in Formula 1 as well as this one. But Chris does go for a fresh set of softs, possibly going for the fastest lap outside of the top 10. Can Cam go for another move on the Aston Martin? Don't think so on this occasion. I think Lukey just has enough in the straight, as Cam does brake earlier. Try get a bit of a switch, as what's happened there is that, no, it's not Owen White. I got very scared for a second, but it is Akeke who has had a bit of a spin there, and he pulls out of the way to let our race leaders through, as Owen has just turned up the pace and drops JM in this one. Really, oh no, he hasn't! Owen Wyatt has spun, heading through turn 6 and 7. He turned up the pace alright, the pace into the gravel, and now the safety car is brought out with very few laps to go. Look how this one has changed. The German JM is in the lead of the Grand Prix. The man to beat the 2 Red Bulls here. Ooh, this has changed, and this has changed very quickly, and Owen Wyatt, that is really unfortunate. I think he's avoided any floor damage, but he went bouncing across the curbs there.
Yeah, it's certainly an unusual sort of incident. It's easy to do, but it doesn't look right when you do it. It's just, I think he's probably just pushed a little bit too hard on the throttle there when he was getting definitely comfortable in leading the race, but he's still currently in P2, which isn't too bad, and a JM out in the lead. What is he going to do? Is he going to box for his second mandatory, which he probably should do? Was that part of his strategy all along, to rely on another safety car to try and win the title? But that is to talk about shortly. But he is into the pits, and this race is got very, very interesting.
This race has got very interesting. Larkin stays out, and ERT Larkin will be in the lead of the Bahrain Grand Prix. Cam Rules finds his way into the pits. Nick and J. Cole stay out. So I believe as it stands now, it is J. Cole who is still winning the championship as it stands. JM has gone for the hards. There's a few people gone for the softs behind him. JM's gone very cautious on that one. And you know, if I was him, I might have tried my hand at the set of softs because there's nothing to lose. But JM has gone for a set of the hard compound tyres, and look, he needs a bit of a miracle if he wants to win this one from here, I think.
Yes, he certainly does, but it has been a day of a very late safety car, so maybe his miracle will come in the form of that. There's still time for to have another safety car later, but they are running out of laps in which to trigger that. We are on lap 19 behind the safety car here at Bahrain, and we have a very exciting finale in store.
Thank you for everyone who is tuning in. A couple of comments there. One saying, J. Luke is so overrated. Oh well. There's one saying, hey guys, there's just a very interesting point. Thank you very much for joining us. Rare mistake from Owen. I wish I could agree, but it's not the first time this season Owen has made a very bad mistake when leading a race comfortably.
Yes, but look at it this week. He hasn't had a terminal damage, so he's just managed to lose the position, and now he's down in P7 on the best tyres that you want to be on at the end of the race, especially here. So he could have some fun still today when the safety car pits. Very shortly, I would believe that happens, as we've got most of the cars at the end of the tail, maybe one more safety car lap. But there's certainly an element of who is going to win. At the moment, as I said at the start, Larkin's going to win the race, but J. Cole will still be champion. That is still happening, but JM will not give up. He will do everything he can. He does have better hard tyres than anybody, so it's certainly all to play for in the closing stages here. Nick Egan is doing well in B2 as well. He's had a bit of a down qualifying result, but he's certainly made up for that in the race. So there's going to be a lot to talk about post-race. We'll be nominate our drivers of the day, but that will be later. But for now, enjoy.
Oh, Schnicksel in.
On pits in the background, yes.
Schnicksel's just trying something different. You know, I don't blame him at all, because look, may as well. Here in this one, Schnicksel, of course, is fighting for that 5th place in the championship against Lukey. So Lukey is ahead of him in P7, but there is a fair few points separating them. So I suppose Schnicksel, if he did want to just have a bit of fun, he could technically do this. But fun is not what's going to be on the Red Bull's mind, because realistically the ball is in J. Cole's court here. Larkin's in the lead of the race. He's doing everything he needs to do, but he needs J. Cole to fall down the grid, and fall down the grid quite quickly here. And does that happen? I'm not quite sure.
Well, it certainly doesn't look likely based on the evidence that we've seen this season, although he did have a bit of a downer in Austria where he failed to finish. So other than that, he's been pretty much on the podium every week, apart from his DNF, and in Spain he had a bit of a nightmare as J. Cole, but he's had 3 wins to make up for that. And Larkin has had 4 podiums, and last week he finished 12th, which really put him he was in control for quite a lot of the season. And JM's obviously big DNF in Hungary certainly changed the championship his way, but I think the Hungary race certainly changed the direction of the potential championship. But the closing stage of this could change it yet more. But are we going to go racing on this lap?
I don't think so. And the thing here is, I could be a conspiracy theorist, but these softs may make the end if we do one more lap, which could have big implications, because the thing about Larkin here is the power is in Larkin's steering wheel. Well, hopefully, but the power is in Larkin's steering wheel, or hands, I suppose you could say, because he controls the restart, he controls the pace from the front, and if he could pull a second away from Nick, which he has been doing during the race, he can control this one from the front. J. Cole just car separates him and JM, and JM's his title rival, but Owen, Lukey, Cam, J. Luke, all on the softs, could have another thing to say here, as Waitsy into the pit lane. Now there's no car between JM and J. Cole. This race just takes even more twists, and even more turns. every lap.
It's something that we say every week, but we have absolutely no idea who's going to win this race.
No, genuinely, that is the brilliant thing about One Hub Racing, folks. If you're watching, we don't know who's going to win every week. I know in Formula 1 you may say, oh, it's a Red Bull, Verstappen wins again. These Red Bulls have been put through their paces this season to be this dominant. They've had everything thrown at them, quite literally. Some cars, sometimes even, thrown at them.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's been a cracker of a season. Hopefully we've a cracker of a finish here. And just to remind you once again of the championship proceedings here, folks. If J. Cole finishes in the top 5, with or without a fastest lap, he's the champion. If J. Cole finishes 6th with the fastest lap, Larkin must win the race to win the championship. If J. Cole finishes in 6th, JM must win the race with fastest lap to win the championship. Larkin must win the race. So, as it stands now, if J. Cole was to drop to 6th position without the fastest lap, which I can imagine he's not going to take here, I can't imagine Larkin will take it either in these tyres, but if J. Cole was to drop to 6th here, as it would stand, Larkin would be winning. We'll keep you updated throughout, don't worry about that. We'll definitely keep you updated on how the championship proceedings are unfolding throughout the next couple of laps, but I don't think my excitement can contain myself.
No, it's certainly bubbling up to the crescendo as the safety car is in this lap. Once again, we are about to go racing, but Larkin can control the restart this time. Owen White, I believe, controlled it last time. And let's just see what happens as we have all the cars desperately trying to get temperature into their tyres for the final, perhaps, stint of this race. Larkin is in control, but of course, Jake Hall really is in control of the championship, but Larkin in control of the race, and JM.
Oh, this is going to be good.
If anything happens, he's lingering in P4 as well. He's still got a shot there. He's trying to do everything he can, and they've gone just as they come out of the final corner, have they?
We'll see Larkin, he's building and holding and holding and almost putting Nick into the wall. He's holding and waiting for Nick to make the move. He'll make the move. We go racing in Bahrain. What a restart for Larkin. He's invited his teammate up the inside of Nick here. Here we go, 2 by 2. Noah's Ark into turn number 1. J. Cole takes 2nd place in the Grand Prix. Nick is going to try and hang it around the outside. Owen Wyatt is already up to 4th. Owen Wyatt could be up to 2nd by the time here. Oh, it's a spin for Nick in the midfield, and that's unfortunate. JM's gone falling down as well here. That's possibly JM at a title contention. Owen Wyatt up the inside of J. Cole, and that's shuffled up the grid well and truly here, because J. Cole is down to 3rd, Lukey up to 4th, Cam 5th, June is up to 6th, and then nowhere realistically in this one. JM has fallen to 11th, he's dived Waitsy, and there's anger controlling that Williams racing machine as Owen Wyatt has gone for the race lead round the outside of Larkin. This would be a horrible scenario for Larkin if he was to lose the race lead here. There is a crash in the back. It's a Keke who's gone off behind, and J. Cole is going to struggle here, but Owen Wyatt's going to lead the race, and Owen Wyatt, after causing that safety car, has been the biggest gainer out of this one. Owen Wyatt's in the lead of the race now. J. Cole is in an even more comfortable position in the Drivers' Championship, but the 2 Red Bulls could go racing here, folks, and that is going to be quite a situation if it develops. Lukey is possibly going to go for the podium as well in this one. He'd love to see a podium to end off his season. Anyone would love to see the podium to end off their season, but I think Larkin doesn't want to share it with his teammate. Lukey in towards the final corner. He's going to send it up the inside as the Aston Martin laid on the brakes. J. Cole has to run off the track a bit because J. Cole needs to just avoid the barriers at all costs here. He doesn't want to crash, but the thing about this is every soft tyre runner that gets past J. Cole, it's another one to catch his teammate. J. Cole to the outside. Is he going to try a bit of a switch back into turn number 1, or is it just going to be laid on the brakes for J. Cole? Just tucks in behind the Aston Martin. He's going to try switch back him in towards turn number 4, but I don't think it's going to work out for the man on the old hard compound tyres. It's 33% for J. Cole. Larkin's in much worse condition here. Larkin did drive his tyres to the end of the race in Hungary from a very early spot. Could he do it again here in Sakhir? It would be quite a task, as we see Jume a bit out of shape and J-Luke just behind, and Nick unfortunately did make a pit stop and he's down the back. Schnitzel has just been dived by Thomas Mack, and I've got to say, that's one of Thomas Mack's better moves this season. But just look at Mr. King of switchbacks there. Schnitzel, apologies, up the inside. Jume has actually tagged the back of the AlphaTauri, I believe. Cam K is on the back of J. Cole here, and this could get interesting as Cam going to dive it down the inside. Late on the brakes for Cam, not late enough. The Red Bull will hold it around the outside, and J. Cole will still be in championship contention here. Of course, he needs to drop even further now with Larkin not leading the race, but we've seen Owen make one mistake so far in this race. Could he make another? We'll have to wait and see here. And if a safety car was to come out at this point, I think a real spanner would be thrown in the works because, well, the two Red Bulls would be sitting ducks pretty much, and that's not really a position they've been in so far this season. Lukey, on the back of Larkin, could go for it here.
Yes, he certainly could, but you mentioned a few moments ago about one of Thomas Mack's better moves this season. I think the best move he's done this season is actually putting himself in the menu to turn on his task properly so he won't get a task the first time in a while. So that's always a good thing to do. You finally remember to do that, and you have Larkin, who's, if there is another late safety car, I reckon the Red Bulls are going to double stack again and put the softs on. With JM down in 11th place, surely they'd come out ahead of him.
But the thing here is, if J. Cole was to finish 12th, Larkin still has to finish 4th. So, realistically, it's do or die for both these guys here. As it stands, if Larkin was to finish 2nd, which he could well do, J. Cole would have to finish 7th. And, you know, I've seen Stranger Things. I really have. I haven't seen the series, but I've seen Stranger Things in Formula 1, as that is Chris. Or is it Chris? No, it could be a KK again, unfortunately. As there is a right old train behind J. Cole here. But Cam is just not doing enough to get past, and maybe Cam is just preserving and trying to keep a P5 here, because of course Cam is not in championship contention. As we see J-Luke all over the back of Cam Rules, and Cam Rules has had one of his better races of the season here today. He's ran really well, he's ran really wide as well. Unfortunately, is J-Luke almost became a cropper there and almost became the next victim to the silver barriers, as J-Luke now tucks in right behind Cam, and Cam's burned up all his battery. Is Lukey close enough to try ascend on the Red Bull in front of him? I don't believe so, and I think the more and more laps this race goes on, the more and more chances of J. Cole winning the championship. Is Cam close enough for ascend into turn 1? No, he is not, and we'll have to sit behind. J-Luke certainly is close enough for ascend into turn number 1 on Cam Rules, and J-Luke's gone clean round the outside, and here comes Joom, and there's contact between the two, and that's Joom and Cam Rules both gone off. Cam Rules into the wall. Yellow flags are out. Will it be a safety car? I think we might have avoided one here, and that could be a blessing for J. Cole that the safety car's not come out. But just as we were saying, Cam Rules was having one of his better races. He's ended up in the wall.
Yes, it's sort of a reverse commentator's curse, that one. It's a rarely seen one, but it happens sometimes. But unfortunately, we've lost the McLaren into the top left wall there. But luckily, for the Red Bulls at least, there's no late safety car drama to deal with. At least not yet. There's still time.
There's still time.
Running out of that.
There's still time. It could still come out on the next lap, but I don't think we will get a crash. I don't think we'll get even any positional changes towards the end of the race involving the Red Bulls. Their pace has just saved them here, it looks like. As Cam is still pressuring the back of J. Cole here, but he's not doing enough. He really isn't. Whether these softs has just dropped off, or J. Cole just has unbelievable pace, as, yeah, the softs are actually in a worse condition than the hards are at this point in the race, and that's why Cam can't get past.
Yeah, it's an interesting dilemma to have, really, about the tyres here, but J. Cole in P4 is got DRS, so he's able to defend Cam behind, which is always good to have the DRS. Just helps your tyres a little bit more, as you can just take a little bit less out of them, so you could have more energy for the corners, which is where a lot of the wear comes from, of course. But on the flip side of that is the exit you get would also help there. But the better the exit, the more wear, of course, you lose in that case. So it's always going to be swings and roundabouts. But someone that doesn't have to worry about wear is probably J-Luke down in P6. And Larkin should be fine with the hards, as should J. Cole in P4. But you never know what happens with this game. You never know when you're going to run over something that makes your tyre go pop. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But there's a just 3.5 laps to go, let's call it that, just play devil's advocate, call it right down the middle. There's not many laps to go. Wyatt's still in the lead, although it looked like he was going to go a little wide there on exit of turn 11 into 12, but Larkin in P2.
Oh, Lukey's almost spun there, and we're starting to see tyre wear encroach some of the drivers here, and if one of our Championship 3 were to make a mistake here, it really would be heartbreaking. Well, J. Cole especially. If Larkin was to make a mistake, I fear he wouldn't lose anything realistically, because J. Cole's doing everything he possibly can. Lap 27, too late for a safety car, could possibly be here in this one. It seems like we're going to get clean running to the end. It seems like a bit of a DRS train heading down towards turn number 1, as J. Cole is not able to attack Lukey. JM's got past Schnitzel, as Chris has sent one on Schnitzel there, as there's a yellow flag. That is for Akeke, and somehow, despite all his spins, I don't think Akeke is actually DNF'd from one this season. Schnitzel to the outside on Chris, as Schnitzel is going to go around the outside here, is he? No, is he going to try one of his famous manoeuvres? No, it's not going to quite work out on this occasion. Up the front again for the Championship 2, as we'll call it now, because JM is out of this one, unfortunately. Still J. Cole, who is going to wrap up the title come the end of lap 29.
Yes, and just looked into the OKK record there. Yeah, you're right, he's spun a lot, but he hasn't actually had any DNFs over the pre-season, but that one doesn't really count. And he's got 12 points, so he's 14th in the driver's standings as well, so he's had some pretty good results. A couple of weeks ago he finished 9th, and the week before that he finished 10th, so if he's not spinning, he's having solid races, so it's not quite as bad on the surface as it seems to us sometimes. He's always struggling, but he's actually done quite well for himself at some of these races. But the heater end of this race is approaching. Owen Wyatt is about to start lap 28 of 29. It's the penultimate race, but are his tyres in good enough condition to carry on and win the race?
Lukey doesn't have DRS here. This could be curtains. J. Cole, is he going to go for the outside or the inside? And this is a bold move to take. He goes for the outside. Who's going to break the later of the two? They've both broken at even point, and J. Cole, this is a really risky moment, as he actually tapped Lukey, and J. Cole is up into 3rd spot, and that, ladies and gentlemen, might have just confirmed it, as J. Cole, being the driver's champion, will have to wait and see. Cam is not able to capitalise on this one, and I think Larkin and J. Cole are not, they haven't made many mistakes this season. I can't see them making a mistake, but it was Larkin's mistake in Texas that did cost them in this one, unfortunately. There's Cam. Oh, look at this. Cam up the inside. J-Luke gonna try for the both of them here. Can J-Luke possibly force one around the outside into turn 10? Colin Mason is looking for this one as well. And into turn 10. AlphaTauri on the outside. Who breaks the later? It's gonna be Lukey who breaks the later. And Lukey's gonna keep this one here, as Colin Mason's gonna get into slipstream. It's a great move up the inside for Colin. He's capitalised on that one really well. And Colin is up to 6th in this one after some errors in the Grand Prix. But he's recovered well, as he does. And this is Colin Mason's little bit of a redemption arc, I suppose we could say. Lukey's struggling here, and he's gonna go for 5th. There's the late move we seen on lap 1. He's pulled it off this time with a little bit of a run here. J-Luke has swapped him up the inside, and this is an unbelievable way to end the season. What a battle these three are having here as we go on to the final lap of the Grand Prix. There we go, we're on to the final lap. Owen White has started the final lap of the season. This battle for 5th is not over, though. The championship might be, but this battle certainly isn't. Colin is going to tuck into the slipstream, gonna pull onto the outside of J-Luke here, and the man battling for 5th is not going to be able to get it into turn 1. Is he going to try a bit of a switchback here? Is he going to force it the long way around the outside? The Mercedes, is he going to tuck into the slipstream? Right into the slipstream he goes. Can he go up the inside here? No, it's not going to work for Colin, and he's going to have to sit behind us. Lukey! Oh, Lukey spun round! Oh, he was struggling for the last few laps. He really was struggling, but he's fallen out of the point. Oh, is he going to stay in the points here? But he's fallen to a solitary point in this one, and that's not what he deserves. He's ran really well all the race.
Yeah, he's often. Oh, he's got a rear puncture as well. That's not going to make it easy.
Oh, that's what's caused that spin, I'd say. That's what's caused the spin. Will we see punctures for anyone else here? As J-Luke is nursing his tyres home. I don't think we'll see any punctures for the Championship 2. They seem to be all good on the hard compound tyres. As Owen Wyatt rounds the final few corners. He's going to take a win here in surprising circumstances, because it was him that caused that late safety car. We thought it would be dramatic. Dramatic it was to an extent, as Colin Mason and J-Luke. Oh, Colin Mason's gone off on the gravel, but Owen Wyatt is going to take the race win in Bahrain. A statement from Owen, a soliloquy from J. Cole. Pressure was not at his helm today. J. Cole wins the P2 Championship in Season 21. The Red Bullman was unstoppable in the the last few rounds, and his teammates' mistakes are his gifts. J. Cole wins in P2 tier, not in Bahrain, but a Bahrain win was not needed. He has did enough. Cam will come home 4th, another impressive result for the Ferrari. Colin Mason will come home 5th in the end. A drag race to the line with J. Cole. Waitsy in 7th, ahead of JM in 8th. He did all he could, but unfortunately strategy didn't work out his way. Chris in 9th, Schnitzel in 10th, Joom 11th. Thomas Mack will pick up points somehow from that in 12th, and Lukey nurses home his puncture and will finish 13th, with Nick coming home across the line to give us a donut or two. Nice. And he'll finish 14th, and Okeke gives us a donut as well, but I think that one mightn't be on purpose, as just looking at the tyres at the end, Owen White finished the race on 80% on his rear left. That is crazy.
Yeah, he was definitely really trying to look after the tyres as he finished that final few corners there. He was definitely leaning on the tyres a little bit too less than he was earlier, just nursing it around the corners, easing off, and Okeke is going across the line in P15, which, you know, it's another finish to his name. It's going to go on his stats in the database, and he's going to do a voluntary donut this time, and hopefully he doesn't break a wheel off as he does them. But yeah, J. Cole may have been 3rd. Owen won the race, but J. Cole wins the championship here in the P2 tier of One Hub Racing Season 21.
What a result for J. Cole. He has been ultra impressive. 16 finishes, 16 points finishes, 3 wins, 6 podiums, 1 pole position, 3 fastest laps, and 1 Drivers' Championship.
Certainly not bad to look back on, is it really, in the off-season? Just think, oh, I did that. And it's going to give drivers that haven't really had the great season in British to go, hey, that could be me next season if I'm a little bit more lucky. And I'm one of them thinking, I could win a championship here as well. And if you're watching in the chat and you think you could win a championship in One Hub Racing, then go below the video, join the Discord, and sign up there. Of course, this is the last race of this season, but I'm sure we'll announce the next season in due course. But follow the Discord, join it, and ask all the relevant questions, and you get the answers you want. And hopefully we will see you perhaps winning a championship next season.
Final race results: Owen Wyatt takes the win in Bahrain with a race-winning time of 50 minutes 13 seconds, as ERT Larkin takes 2nd, ahead of his championship-winning teammate in 3rd. It was a dominant season from Red Bull in the end. Cam finishes in 4th, ahead of Colin Mason, the Welshman, in 5th. J-Luke finishes 6th, ahead of Waitsy in 7th. JM finishes 8th, ahead of Chris in 9th. Schnitzel 10th, ahead of Joom in 11th, though I believe may get a post-race penalty for that incident with Cam rules. Thomas Mack in 12th, ahead of Lukey 13th. Nick 14th, Okeke in 15th, and then Cam Rules, our only DNF today, in 16th position. But Matthew, who's your driver of the day?
Well, I'm going to leave the obvious one to you, and I'm going to pick Owen Wyatt. And the question I'm going to ask here is, was that a sign of things to come in future seasons here in One Hub Racing?
And I think I may go for the obvious one here, J. Cole, and I'm going to go for a simple question. How does it feel to pick up a Drivers' Championship in Season 21? But what an unbelievable season we've had here. Hopefully there is many great races to come here in the P2 tier. It's one of the best in One Hub Racing. Of course, if you want to check out more One Hub Racing action, you can go over to our Twitch channel, where we're currently streaming the season finale in the P1 tier. But Matthew, what's your final thoughts on that one, on a great season?
It's been an absolutely amazing season, and every given week you had no idea who was going to come out ahead. I mean, you had several drivers leading races at several points this season, and you never really knew who was going to be on the podium either. So, but for a mistake here or there, we could have had a very different champion. But I think, looking at the results, he's probably been the most consistent in this tier, so deserves the championship. But Hardline suit 2nd and 3rd, who put up a valiant effort, and of course Nick had a bit of unluck this season as well, and he was a contender at some point as well. So I think season 22, if most of these guys are in here, we're going to have a very fantastic season again, and hopefully I'm back in the box to call it, because I've thoroughly enjoyed every minute of this season. Yeah, what a great season we've had. Thank you all for tuning in the chat. It is
it's greatly appreciated for those who do watch all the races and who do tune in to hear me and Matthew call it. It's greatly appreciated from myself. So I think that's all we do have time for here in Bahrain. Of course, we want to let you get over a quick hop across the sea to Texas for the P1 tier final with Jamie and Liam. Make sure to tune into it. But from myself and Matthew, thank you very, very much for joining us this season. Congratulations to our new Drivers' Champion, J. Cole, and our Constructors' Championships, Red Bull Racing. Of course, keep an eye on all our social channels for different Driver of the Day polls. And, of course, I believe there will be an end-of-season stream as well, where you can see various different awards and who win different giveaways. But, yes, stay safe and stay well, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you very much for tuning to the One Hub P2s here.